The sun hung low over the horizon, casting a golden hue across the endless expanse of green fields. A soft breeze rippled through the stalks, whispering secrets only the earth could understand. In the heart of it all stood the farmer, his hands callous yet gentle as they sifted through the soil. He had spent his life here, tending to the land with devotion passed down through generations. But today his heart was heavy. He knelt, pressing his fingers into the damp earth. It felt rich, promising, yet the weight of uncertainty clung to his chest. The past few seasons have been unforgiving. Unpredictable weather, failing crops, and debts that grew like weeds. He had done everything he could, waking before dawn, working until the stars blinked into sky, whispering quiet prayers to the heavens. Still, the land, once bountiful, now seemed reluctant to yield its gifts. From the distance, the village bell chimed, a reminder that time moved forward, indifferent to his struggles. The farmer stood, wiping sweat from his brow. His gaze swept over the fields, his life's work, his inheritance. He had always believed that hard work would be enough, that the land would reward patience and perseverance. But doubt had begun to creep in, slow and insidious, like the creeping tendrils of a vine strangling its host. A sudden gust carried the scent of rain, and he looked up. The sky, once clear, had darkened with heavy clouds. A storm was coming. He had prayed for rain, but not like this. Too much too soon could drown the fragile roots, washing away what little hope remained. The first drops splattered against the earth, darkening the soil. He watched as the wind picked up, bending the crops, his heartbeat matching the rhythm of the storm. Then on the horizon, he saw it, a figure on horseback, moving swiftly along the dirt road toward his farm. His pulse quickened. News rarely traveled as fast unless it was urgent. As the rider drew closer, the farmer stepped forward, hands tightening at his sides. The man dismounted, his face shadowed beneath the brim of his hat. "A message from the bank," he said, handing over a weathered envelope. The farmer hesitated before taking it. His fingers felt heavy as they unfolded the letter. His eyes scanned the lines, absorbing the weight of each word. His land, his family's legacy, was at risk. The debt collectors were coming. If he couldn't pay in time, the fields would no longer be his to protect. Thunder rumbled overhead as he let the paper fall to his side. The storm had arrived, inside and out. He turned back to his fields, watching as the wind swept through them like a restless tide. He had fought for this land his entire life. Now, he would have to fight harder than ever, and he would not lose. The rain did not stop for 3 days. It fell in relentless sheets, drenching the land, turning soil to mud, and pooling in the low places where seedlings struggled for breath. The farmer stood at the edge of his flooded fields, water lapping at his boots. His heart clenched as he watched his crops, his livelihood, bend beneath the weight of the storm. He had prayed for rain, but the sky had given him a flood. His neighbors fared no better. Down the road, old Kumar surveyed his ruined tomato plants with a hollow stare. Further on, Mira, a widow with 3 children, waded through her submerged rice paddies, her hands shaking as she tried to salvage what she could. The farmer saw his own desperation reflected in their eyes. "We can't afford this," Kumar muttered, his voice lost beneath the wind. "Not again." The farmer said nothing. Words would not dry the fields or bring back what was lost. Instead, he turned to his barn, its wooden beams groaning under the assault of the storm. Inside, sacks of grain sat stacked in the corner, his emergency supply, the last of his reserves. If the rain did not let up soon, even that would not be enough. By the 4th day, the sky cleared, but the damage was done. The fields had drowned. The plants, once vibrant, now drooped, their roots rotting beneath the surface. The farmer walked through the wreckage, each step heavy with loss. The letter from the bank burned in his pocket. 2 weeks. That was all they had given him. A deep weariness settled into his bones, but surrender was not an option. He had worked too long, sacrificed too much. He would find a way. That evening, he sought out Bala, an old farmer known for his wisdom. Bala's land, though touched by the storm, had suffered less than the others. The farmer found him sitting beneath a neem tree, watching the sunset paint the sky in gold and crimson. "You came for answers," Bala said without turning. The farmer nodded, settling onto the damp earth beside him. I need a way to save my land. The bank will take it if I fail. Bala traced a line in the dirt with his finger. The old ways, he murmured. The soil remembers. It can heal if you know how to ask. The farmer listened as Bala spoke of forgotten methods. Crop rotation, companion planting, natural irrigation techniques. Ideas that had kept the land fertile long before machines and chemicals. Hope stirred within him. That night, as he lay on his cot, the farmer stared at the ceiling, his mind racing. He had one chance. If the land could still be saved, he would do whatever it took. Outside, the wind whispered through the fields. The storm had passed. The real battle was about to begin. Dawn broke with the scent of damp earth and renewal. The farmer stood at the edge of his land, the morning sun casting long shadows across the ruined fields. He inhaled deeply, letting the crisp air fill his lungs. This land had given him everything, his past, his purpose. Now he had to fight for its future. Armed with Bala's wisdom, he set to work. He carved narrow channels to guide the lingering floodwater away, allowing the soil to breathe. He gathered dried leaves and grass, layering them over the earth to restore lost nutrients. At first, the work felt endless, his muscles burning with exhaustion, but he pushed forward. Word spread of his efforts. One by one, his neighbors came, curiosity flickering in their tired eyes. Kumar crossed his arms. You really think this will work? The farmer straightened, wiping sweat from his brow. If I give up now, I lose everything. We all do. Silence stretched between them before Mira stepped forward, rolling up her sleeves. Tell me what to do. Hope was contagious. Soon, others joined, clearing debris, replanting what could be saved, mending tools long forgotten. The land, once abandoned to despair, became alive with effort. Children's laughter echoed as they carried baskets of fresh mulch, their bare feet sinking into the wet earth. But the fight was far from over. One evening, as the farmer rested beneath the neem tree, a shadow fell across him. A man in a crisp white shirt, sleeves rolled up just enough to show he meant business, held out a familiar envelope. The bank isn't known for patience, he said. 1 week left. The farmer took the letter but did not open it. He already knew what it said. As the man turned to leave, he called after him. What if I could pay half? Would that buy me more time? The banker hesitated, then shrugged. Maybe. A new urgency gripped the farmer. He gathered his remaining grain, the last of his livestock, anything he could spare. He loaded them onto an old wooden cart and set off toward the town's market before dawn. The journey was slow, the oxen pulling against the weight of sacrifice, but he pressed on. The market buzzed with life, merchants calling out prices, children weaving through stalls, the scent of spices thick in the air. He bartered fiercely, stretching each coin to its limit. By sundown, his pockets were heavier, but not by enough. As he turned to leave, a voice called out, "You still selling?" A woman stood before him, eyes sharp with understanding. She ran in on the outskirts and needed supplies for the coming months. The farmer met her gaze. "Everything I have." She nodded. A fair price. As the last of his goods left his hands, he exhaled. It was not enough to clear the debt, but it was enough to fight another day. And one day was all he needed. The morning sun bathed the fields in gold, its warmth seeping into the damp earth. The farmer stood at the edge of his land, the weight of the past weeks settling on his shoulders. He had given everything, his time, his strength, his last reserves, to this soil. Now, it was time to see if the land had heard his prayers. New shoots had begun to rise, timid but determined. Tiny green fingers reached for the sky, defying the storm's destruction. The farmer knelt, running his fingers over the tender stalks. They were fragile, but they were alive. A spark of hope flickered in his chest. Behind him, footsteps crunched against the dry earth. Kumar, Mira, and the others had come. They stood in silence, taking in the sight of the recovering land. It was not the lush expanse it had once been, but it was the beginning of something new. "You did it," Mira murmured. "No," the farmer said, rising to his feet. "We did it." But their fight was not over. The deadline loomed. The farmer clutched the small bag of coins he had earned at the market. It was not enough to pay the full debt, but it was something. With a deep breath, he made his way to the bank. The banker sat behind a polished desk, his expression unreadable as the farmer placed the money before him. "It's half," the farmer admitted, his voice steady. "I need more time for the rest." The man studied him, tapping his fingers against the wooden surface. "We don't make exceptions." The farmer squared his shoulders. "Then don't see this as an exception. See it as an investment. The land will give back what we put into it. Give me a season and I'll pay it all." A long pause. Then the banker sighed, rubbing his temple. "1 season," he said. "If you fail, the land is ours." Relief washed over the farmer, but he did not celebrate. Not yet. The real work had just begun. Weeks passed. The land, nurtured by hands that refused to surrender, flourished. The crops thickened, their roots strong beneath the surface. Rain came in measured gifts, soaking the fields just enough. The farmer worked tirelessly, as did those who stood beside him through every hardship. And then, one morning, the first harvest was ready. The farmer held a bundle of wheat in his hands, its golden strands rustling in the wind. This was more than a harvest. It was proof that resilience could overcome ruin, that when hands joined together, no storm, no debt, no force of nature could truly take what was meant to grow. As he gazed across his fields, he saw more than crops. He saw the future, rooted in struggle, but alive with possibility. And this time, he knew, the land had listened, and it had answered.